When pro photographers are looking for custom modifications for their gear, they often turn to Marty Forscher's Pro Camera Repair in Manhattan. Since 1946, Marty has been solving the everyday problems of the working photographer by consistently building the better mousetrap.
You have to remember that in the early stages of small camera photography, the instruments were relatively primitive. They had no rapid rewinds, they had no rapid advance, they had no internal synchronization. And photographers would come to us and say, it takes too long to rewind the film, or I lose the picture because it takes too long to advance the film. And ultimately, that's been our function in photography. And many of the things that we have incorporated into state-of-the-art cameras have eventually become part of the normal product line. No matter how sophisticated cameras that come off the production line are, professional photographers will always find ways to improve them depending upon their particular needs. For instance, with this camera, we've made 4 changes, all of which solve the problems for specific purposes. Number 1, we've put a lock here for their memory button. Number 2, we've made a mirror lockup. Number 3, we've built in a rotating correction eyepiece for people who have astigmatism. And number 4, for people who want to use the camera in adverse climatic conditions and they want to use gloves, we've added this soft release, which we designed many, many years ago for a photographer at Life magazine. To the best of my knowledge, this is the first motor-driven 250 exposure 35mm camera. And this was conceived, designed, materials procured, and built within a period of 3 weeks. And that was the nature of assignments that we used to get from Life magazine. Most automatic cameras have not provided the feature for bracketing in the automatic mode. This camera, for instance, required that in order to bracket, you had to take the camera down from your eye, push this button, turn this wheel, and by the time you got the camera back up to your eye, the subject matter was already gone. What we have done is we have modified the camera in such a way, using features that were built into it, so that it could be used without removing it from your eye. What we do is we lock down that release button, and we have built in our own click stops. Now, this is 2 stops plus, this is the normal exposure, and this is 2 stops minus. And you can use any increment in between. The problem with 35mm cameras is that there is no way to get a piece of 3 1/4 by 4 1/4 Polaroid film into the film plane of a 35mm camera. This is a Polaroid back made for 35mm cameras, which incorporates a fiber optic faceplate, which is capable of picking up the image at the film plane and transferring it to the other side, where we can make a contact print off Polaroid film.
Since the 35mm image takes up only a part of the Polaroid, the thrifty photographer simply pulls part of the Polaroid film out and makes 2 exposures on 1 piece of film. This kind of thinking keeps Marty's job challenging.
Many of the functions for which we, or people in our industry, are responsible are now incorporated into the state-of-the-art cameras. But I don't think you'll ever stifle the imagination of photographers. And no matter what you give them, they're going to figure out ways that they want to use this equipment in a different manner. And if that different manner requires a modification to one of the functions or the adaptation of some gadget, we're going to be around to do it.